And if you could mute everybody, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everybody. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom. So glad you're here joining us. We were just talking about the fun we had in Alabama this last week, and something that really stood out to me as I was doing those events. So we talk about events a lot on this Zoom because they really do matter. This, in my opinion, the two things, conversations with people and events are going to move your business forward. And events are just another reason to have a conversation with someone. So they're tied so close together. If you focus on nothing else, those two things, talking to people in conversation, just in your everyday life, bringing those towards Juice Plus conversations by listening for the need. We've talked about that. And then hosting and inviting to events, so doing your own events. And it was just just the frustration that we've all had with the digital transformation. It's easy to think, once they get all of this together, then I will do activity. I don't want to get people in the pipeline or have orders put in and they're not in the right place. And I mean, it really is just a way to let ourselves off the hook for not working. I mean, that's that's the truth for me. It's like, oh, I'll go do something else. But I know not to do that. And there were times I had to like smack myself, get back in, get that thought out of your head. No, ma'am, we don't say that. Like, that is not true. And like, stand in the truth of what I know with this business is people need the message we have. And so we went to Alabama and I was helping two girls. And remember, this is like activity that is continuing from other events, right? We so often think, okay, this event had this many people, so it was a success, or it only had this many people, so it wasn't a success. And we tend to gauge that success by the number of people that actually attend the events, but there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes with inviting and the follow-up afterwards and the next event that you have, you're inviting people to, and it's just one conversation after the next, and that, just leads to results. And we would love for somebody to come to an event and they just get this picture, and within 3 months they're a sales coordinator, and 2 years later they're an NMD. It does happen, right? We've heard those stories, but that is like probably 0.1% of 1%, right? Like, it just, that's not the real life of this business. It's a dream, but if you're gauging your business and thinking that that's how everyone else is building their business, it's not true. That's just not true. It's one conversation at a time. It's one event. It's one person. And like I told Brielle, it's all of that activity that doesn't feel like work that is the work. And I was just reminded as I did these events, like, I love presenting. I really do love the educational process where you see in the audience like light bulbs going off. And there was great discussion after both of the health events that we did. And it didn't matter if there were 5 people in the room or the room was full, which it was both time because the team all worked together to get people there. And it's like, I just was reminded how much value we have to offer and how much value that was lost by the people that didn't come. Like, they would have liked this information, they would have liked to have heard this and been encouraged by it. And so, we just do the activity anyway, and you don't know who's in the room that is going to catch that. And I had a couple there that we couldn't even remember how I met the husband. It was probably 8, 10 years ago, like chance encounter, but we connected health wise on some things, and I friended him on Facebook, and we've just kept up like that. Like, I met him one time 10 years ago. I've never seen him since then. I'm never going to be in the same circle. He's in Alabama, right? But he comments on my health things. I comment on some of his posts. We've kind of kept that up. And then him and his wife came, and we were able to move the conversation forward. And he was like, I've watched you, I've known what this is, but I just wasn't sure. But I had a heart attack about 6 months ago, and it's really got me thinking, right? We talk about somebody has to go through a health crisis. Are you going to be here 10 years from now that somebody, when they have that crisis, they come back to you? Are you going to stay in the game long enough and the conversations long enough and the activity long enough that people know that you're going to be a resource when they need you. And I just felt like that again, this is valuable information. It's really high value that people just in their everyday life are not having these conversations because we're all sort of in survival mode in their own lives. And this is just a way for us to step in and offer a bigger picture, of vitality and of living with purpose, on the business side. And one of my team members said, I've really missed you, Stacy, and I just missed the vibe and being around you again. I realize I do need you in my life. And I was like, well, I need you in my life. Like I've missed you too. And you just don't get that in everyday world without this community. And so I just, again, want to encourage you guys, step into the events. It's not about perfection. It's not about having 17 people in the room. It's 3, it's 2, it's 1, it's 10. It's a group effort of having 20 or more people. Like you just keep doing those and keep stepping into it. So I want to hear from you guys. Those were just a couple of my events. I will tell you one other one last minute, a friend that wasn't able to come to the sourdough event. She said, sent me a message and said, is there any way you can do a sourdough class? And it was the day we were leaving. And I was like, I just left and I didn't bring any sourdough, anything with me. But I was like, all right, let's do it Wednesday night. Can you do it? And she was like, yeah. So she was about about an hour and a half drive from where I was. And so she had like 6 people. And I got mother from one of my team members and I fed it for a couple of days and we figured it out, right? We had a great class. And she was, able to introduce me to 6 of her friends that I wouldn't have known outside of this class. And we had a great gut health, and that's 6 more people that are prospects that I didn't have to invite to, and I didn't have to go out and find them, right? Like she has the relationship with them. And we haven't seen each other probably in 18 or 20 years. And yet again, Facebook was connecting us all these years and kind of kept up with each other's lives. And she said, I remember you inviting our Sunday school class. I was so bold then. I think I printed out flyers to my events and like had them on the seats. I wouldn't do that now, but she remembered that and was like, you were serious about this 20 years ago. And she told her friends that. And I said, and I'm more serious about it now. And I love it even more because I have 20 years of incredible stories that I can share with you, experiences of people's lives that have been changed, as ours has continued. So, and I know that spoke to her, right? So think of your friends 20 years from now. Are they going to know like you're still in this? Because we can't let this digital transformation stop us. Like people need this message and things are getting fixed. I'm not having any issues with orders not being placed under the right person or, anything like that. Those that are engaged enough that want to know the information, they're reaching out if they have an issue. We're getting things fixed if there's problems. There's less issues every day that I don't even have anything on my list to call about today. I'm feeling kind of like, what am I going to do with myself if I'm not waiting for the Juice Bus call to come back? So just be patient through this, but don't let it stop you. People need your voice. They need to hear you. You guys tell me, what events have you done the last couple of weeks? What did they look like? What did you learn? What have you enjoyed? Just share with me.
May I share?
Yes, please do, Jody.
Okay. Hey, yeah, just yesterday we had a hike for health. So we went, this whole area, North Alabama has tons of wonderful trails to hike and just getting people outdoors and moving. And it was wonderful. I had an old partner and her daughter join us, a brand new prospect, and another customer and another partner. And so it was just being out in creation and having great conversations on the trail. And at the end, we served protein shake and just had more conversation. And so it was great customer service, just community getting together, but also the prospect is definitely someone I think is going to be a customer and possibly a partner in the near future. So very exciting, lots of fun.
How fun is that, Jody? So did you guys make the smoothies ahead of time and bring
Uh-huh.
them with something prepared?
Yeah, I had it in a thermos, in a cooler. I had a cooler with water bottles in case anybody wanted them, and then I had it in the cooler, and then we had just little cups that we pour that all into and enjoy it at the end of the hike.
That's great. I love that. That's so fun. Hike for health. That's great. Thank you, Jody, for sharing that. Where are you at in Alabama?
I am just south of Huntsville in Arab.
Yeah,
Marsha Anderson is my sponsor.
we love Miss Marcia.
I do too.
That's so fun. All right. Thank you, Jody. Who else would like to share what events you've been doing?
We had an event Thursday night. After the three Gen Z and millennial, the spoke at the conference and then the videos. And so we tried to kind of put it around that, but we had it in person. And there were 3 or 4 partners there and then several guests. And we just did a salad in a jar for the first one, and it turned out really well. There was a lot of interest, and one thing that everybody felt really good about is we covered everything. We talked about the product, we talked about the opportunity and everything, but also just the fact that we wanted the people to continue coming, um, to not pressure them, but to learn more about better health. And that was one of the biggest comments was like, gosh, it didn't feel salesy. It felt really good. It felt welcoming. It felt comfortable. And I have a prospective customer from that. And this was a totally different thing, but also now a prospective partner. But it was geared on that, and we already have more dates on the calendar so that we can keep going and let people know when they're there what's going to be happening.
I think that's really key, Nancy, is to have the next event on the calendar for people to invite. And we did miss that in Alabama. We didn't have one like, okay, if you come to the next one, they didn't really have anything set. So that's super important to keep the momentum of that. And you want them thinking, who else could they bring back? Did you like this? Was this helpful? Then what's the next event you can do? So I really love that. Okay, I see a lot of chatter in there, in that texting. So you guys tell us, what are the
Well,
events that
Tanya, I'm not sure if you know Tanya. Tanya is the one that kind of created the little group. She called it the Hope Group, and
okay.
it's for healthy, optimistic, professional entrepreneurs. I think that's what Alita was trying to say.
Yeah.
It was really a great idea, and it worked out very well.
So that was the larger group of you guys that were inviting to the event?
Yeah, there were like 5 of us, I think.
Okay. Very good. Excellent. I love it. Anyone else? You guys unmute and share what event you've got going on.
Okay, I just put it in the chat, but we did a plant powder facial, and I have a friend who's an esthetician and a makeup artist. So we had probably 8 people here, and she brought a little box with something to hold your hair back with, and it's a little sponge to add makeup. But we started with the greens, and so we all put a little jojoba oil on it and added green to our face. We took no pictures for Facebook. And so we exfoliated and talked about what we would use, like coffee grounds or brown sugar, if we didn't have capsules. And then we moved on to the reds and purples and put that on. It's kind of a vitamin C facial. And then when we washed that off, we put the omegas on and left that on. And then she talked a little bit about makeup at the end. So it was great conversation, great fun, and we have our next one set up. So we're inviting everybody that couldn't make it.
Yeah. And so then I'm sure you guys talked about Beauty from the inside out, something like that, right? To where you're talking about if it's good for your skin, imagine what it can do for on the inside. Did you guys kind of take it that direction too?
We did. We actually started with that direction and how we got introduced to it. And then a couple of the girls were reps, so they told their story. So
Yeah.
because when you're waiting for it on there, we could all talk. So yeah.
Right. That's great. That's fun. I love both of, all of that, the hiking and, it takes some creativity at times to get people out of their off their couch and out of their busy life to come to something. So that just sounds like a lot of fun. That's always great. All right. What else? What else you guys up to?
Hey, Stacy, this is a little off the subject, but I think it's important because I think all of us here, we post things about Juice Plus. The Juice Plus company will post something and sometimes I'll just share it just because I feel like I'm all over social media with Juice Plus, but not trying to, do too much. But I was looking through Facebook last night and a local gal, because you guys know I live in a little town, shared my thing from Juice Plus. And I had not said anything like, if you're interested, reach out. If you need more information, I just shared it because I'm constantly putting things out there. And so she shared it without anybody's name connected. And so I reached out to her and I said, Candy, are you taking Juice Plus? And she goes, no. And I go, did you know I'm a partner with that company? And she's like, no, I had no idea. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so I actually went back to my feed and started saying, if you want more information, reach out to me. But just a reminder, just because we think people know we are partners with Juice Plus doesn't mean they know that. So make sure when you share things that you have, what do they call it when there's a term for it, but take action, make sure people are reaching back to you.
Yeah, call to action.
Call to action. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. Something I'll let somebody else have a chance to share. I have found that when I'm inviting to events, like Sharon Farrar is coming, not this week, but next week to do some events with us. I've got a bunch of people in Project Broadcast from all the events that I've done. And it's just, I love Project Broadcast for that because I can send out an invitation to 200 and whatever people that I would not have the ability to copy paste, and keep a list of all of those people, right? So I love Project Broadcast for that reason. And instead of like saying, my friend is coming, I'd like for you to come, I just sent a message that said, hey, are you going to be in town on Thursday the 7th? I have a health dinner event that I think you might be interested in. And that's all I said. And I got like 32 responses back from that. And I don't always get, responses back to a recording call or a Zoom that I'm inviting them to. But just be careful when you're inviting people, you're not giving too much information up front that they see the text message come through, it's long and they don't read it, right? So I do the same thing. And especially all the, ads and just the election stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting 17 messages a day, it seems like, of text messages, and it just comes in. Like, think about, you want it to catch their attention, something short, and you're giving a call to action. So I'm asking them if they're going to be in town because I have something I think they might be interested in. So if you have a long paragraph you're texting with all of the details, they're probably not even going to read it, especially if they're seeing their messages come through on that little screen on there. I want, like, they just tap it and move on, and like they'll come back to it. And then you see someone's screen and they have, 642 text messages that are unread. Yours is one of those. So it has to be short enough to keep their attention or capture their attention, and personal enough that it seems like it's a message from you, because it is a message from you, but not so general that they're going to know that was a message to, a very large group of people. So just keeping that invitation short at first, that call to action, on our posts, and there's strategy to all of this, right? Like, we've talked a lot about these things, but little things like that do matter. So, okay, who else would like to share anything else on events?
Stacy, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I have a cold. I wanted to know, when you do send that out with Project Broadcast, do you send the flyer at the same time?
I did not. No.
Oh.
And you kind of risk like, um, okay, so you kind of risk that you're going to send that out and uh they won't know what it is or they don't see it right away. But I still have, it's not my only invitation to them, right? Like I'm going to go back and I'm going to keep that conversation going for those that didn't respond. And that's why you have to have somewhere that you're writing down responses from. I can't keep those in the project broadcast because I can't scroll through however many people and think that I'm going to keep that. So I just wrote down I sent it out to like 200 and something people, but then if they wrote back and said, I think so, let me check my schedule. Then I said, because now I know they are interested in the event, or they said, yeah, I will be. What do you have going on? Or no, I'm sorry, I'm going to be out of town. If they responded back to me, I wrote down their names here. So these are the ones that I responded back and I said, oh, excellent. Here's the info on it. My friend Sharon is coming. I shared more about the event, that it's going to be a dinner event, where it's going to be, what time, that it's $5. And I asked, would you like me to save you a spot? We've got space for 40. And some of those still were like, okay, yes, I would like to come, or let me just double check or whatever. But I'm not going to remember which of the ones said, yes, they were interested, right? So if they responded back to me, then I wrote their name, unless they said, no, I'm not coming, which I probably could have done that too. There were some that said, I don't live in the area anymore. And I was like, oh, fun. Where did you guys move? And so I just kept the conversation. I'm going to still want to know, do they want information on Juice Plus just because they can't come to this event anymore? There were a couple of those conversations I had. I think I ended up sending it to a group of people that weren't even like specifically here to the area. I must have been just like clicking all the things, but it started some conversations, right? Team members that said they're coming, but I didn't send them the flyer until I got some response. But I still have a ton of people this week. I'm going to keep going back and say, hey, or were you able to check your schedule? Or I know lots of messages come in, but I really would love for you to come to this event. So when in Project Broadcast, you can put in a tag and it may have 71 people in there. You add them in, but then you can go back and take them out. So I'm not going to send that message to these people. I can remove these people from that specific message because I've already heard back from them and people that said that they had moved. And so you can kind of narrow it down, but still send it out to a larger group of people again. But I did not send the flyer at that time. I was just trying to, think about if you were inviting to a birthday party. Would you send all of the details for the birthday party, or would you kind of reserve the date? You're like, hey, we're having this party for so-and-so. Are you going to be here? Are you going to be in town? We'd like for you to come, right? Like you wouldn't send, we're having a vanilla and chocolate cake with sprinkles and 16, bring a gift that is like those details come later if they ever have to be sent at all. But I think we overwhelm people with that initial message because like we think this is our only chance. I got to get it in front of them and they've got to see this flyer, and the flyer is not going to get somebody there. It's going to be more of a personal connection of why they would want to come. So when you're sending out to a large group of people like that, how do you make it the most personal? I have found if I make it the most conversational, it sounds like a conversation, it just goes much better and I get responses back that I wouldn't get typically.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other tips from you guys when you're inviting? What's working for you?
Well, one thing that I think, you always have to have your next event ready. So inviting them, great, this was great. We're going to get together again. Let's get back together. And always, just following up, like you said, with those who didn't get to come. That's an opportunity to get them to the next thing. So and keeping that list, Stacy, is very important. I agree. just knowing who has said yes and who it needs to be followed up with. So, but one of the things also is just being consistent with your events. So one of the things that I'm doing, this health hike is going to be a monthly event. We're doing this a monthly, and it'll build as it goes. I'm sure just because of the area we live in, it's so hikeable. So we're going to be doing that. And then there's another event that I did already. I'm having it again in November, is a quarterly customer appreciation event. And that's growing, and hoping to do that from here to whenever. I want to do that every quarter for my people, just to get, because our customers don't get to meet each other most of the
Yeah.
time. You know, they don't really get to see what the community is about. So doing that once a quarter, I think, is important.
So I think, like you're saying, the consistency of the event so people kind of get familiar with it. I almost wonder, like, how many exposures to that type of event do they have to have before they come, right? Like, so it's multiple exposures to the same event that builds interest. It's what builds community, Jody. You're not just doing the event, you're building a community, and people want a community to be a part of, and they like the like-mindedness of, this is another group of people that's forward thinking, or that is into health, or has value to add to others. And that all really does count. We can't discount that side of it, because I think it's something a lot of us were attracted to, whether we, like, we're looking for that or not, right? And when you get invited to be a part of that, it's like, if somebody chooses you, like, I choose you, come be a part of our group. Think about if somebody asks you to lunch, I'm going to lunch with a friend. And it's just fun. Like, when they initiate that they want to go to lunch for you, you're like, what? I'm the one that does that all the time. Like, somebody wants to go to lunch with me. Great. And it's just like you feel chosen. And it's like a little baby that lifts up their hands to you and they want you to pick him up. And you're just like, oh my gosh, this little thing chose me to pick them up. Like, it's that same, heartwarming that somebody's choosing and asking me to be a part of what's going on, and people like that. That's attractive to them. And those that don't like that probably aren't going to do well with us. It's okay. They don't have to come and be a part of it, but look for those people that are. So I like that you're saying, not just having the event just to invite them to, but it's what builds this community and what's building your community, and it's hikeable and it's likable. Like, why wouldn't you want to go hiking? And you're going to find those people that like to hike, and that common shared connection maybe with some, but maybe somebody else isn't a hiker, but they love the coffee that chats that people are doing or whatever. So it's meeting people where they're at and building those little micro communities that end up coming all together. Like you're saying, bringing those customers in where they hear that. So that's so great. Thank you, Jody. All right. Anyone else before we end this? Anyone else gonna want something else to add in here? All right. Well, you guys have a great week. I won't be on Zoom next week, so I'll kind of put that reminder out there in our chat, because Sharon is coming and we're going to be doing events that morning. So we won't meet next Monday morning, but we'll probably be on, I'm sure, the next week. So great job, everyone. We will talk soon.